Marilyn Stanley was about to be plunged into an unspeakable living nightmare.
I can't imagine the pain that she was in and what a human being would be going through at that point in time.
The young single mom had gone to the home of Zachary Gross to beg him to stop stalking her.
It was an obsession and anger that he had.
And Marilyn says Gross, an abusive boyfriend she dumped, was in no mood to talk.
Next thing I know, I'm on the ground in front of the closet, being straddled across my waist, and my arms are pinned down directly at my side.
Marilyn says that as Gross continued to hit her, she managed to grab a knife she'd brought with her in case she had to defend herself against him. But before she could use it, Marilyn says she suddenly had a second attacker on top of her. Gross's pet pit bull, Capone.
So the dog was on you already, and you're holding onto the knife?
Yes.
The dog would then bite off most of her right ear.
It bit off the top part up here.
And Gross continued to hit her. Marilyn was suddenly unconscious.
Now what happens?
The next thing I remember is sitting up. The dog was gone, and Zach was kneeling in front of me, kind of like smirking. He said, "Look at you, you're bald. Now nobody's gonna want you. Go look at yourself in the mirror."
Marilyn was too afraid to look.
I didn't look in the mirror when he told me to. I looked kind of in the direction of it, but past myself.
You know enough that you don't want to see.
Right. I could just see blood, and like my hair was wet. And I didn't really think that my scalp was completely gone because I don't remember it being cut off. I thought maybe some of my hair just got, like, maybe in splotches ripped out or something.
But Marilyn says Gross wasn't finished with her yet.
He kicked me in the stomach, and he told me to lay on my side. And he goes, "I'm gonna break your ribs." And he stomped down on my ribs, and they didn't break. He stomped down on my ribs again, and I heard them crack, but I didn't feel it at that point.
Marilyn, how long did you endure this torture?
2 hours.
Marilyn says Gross's brutal bloodlust was finally satisfied.
He helped me wipe the blood off my face and told me, "It's okay, he's done. He's not gonna hurt me anymore."
Did you want to go to the hospital? What did you want to do?
I asked him to call an ambulance, and he told me no because they would take his dog.
Instead, Marilyn says Gross gave her a t-shirt to cover her wounds and a hoodie to put over her head, and then handed her a plastic shopping bag.
And I said, "I don't want this. What am I gonna do with this?"
Marilyn could have never imagined what was in the bag.
I didn't know it was my scalp.
You thought it was just clumps of hair?
Yeah.
Wow. It doesn't even sound real.
No, it doesn't.
So he didn't take you to the hospital?
No, he drove me to the street past my mom's house.
And it was there where Marilyn's attacker would add the ultimate insult to her injuries.
He even asked me if he could have a kiss when he dropped me off.
What a piece of work, this guy.
Her mother will never forget Marilyn turning up at the house that day.
And I heard this voice say, "Help me." But I wasn't sure where it was coming from or who it was.
And Marilyn's sister Ashley thought it was some kind of ghoulish prank.
But then she saw the blood drip down my forehead, and she knew that it was real.
And sorry, I always get upset at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
And that's when Ashley hollered to me to call 911 that it was Marilyn. And that she was hurt real bad.
All I felt was the weight of my ear, so I was propping it up in my hand. I didn't feel like I had cracked ribs. I didn't feel like my scalp was gone. I didn't feel like my face was 3 times its size.
She held the bag up when she came into the yard and said, My hair's in this bag.
It wasn't until the EMTs got Marilyn to the hospital that her mother learned to her horror that nearly half of her daughter's scalp was in that bag.
That's when it's like, oh my God. You know, because you picture in your head when somebody says that somebody was scalped. I mean, it was like unheard of in this day and age, really.
When you saw her in the hospital, did you think you were going to lose your daughter?
I didn't know.
And Marilyn was barely conscious when she was told she'd been scalped alive.
I honestly don't remember them telling me, but I remember the doctor coming in to tell me that my hair is never going to grow back.
When do you believe it actually hit you, the impact of what he had done to you?
I don't think it still has.
Not yet? What is it that you think you haven't permitted yourself to accept or feel?
All of it.
Marilyn's life had hung in the balance as she underwent emergency surgery to repair a severed artery. And she would undergo several more operations before doctors finally succeeded in patching her mutilated head back together with skin grafts from her leg.
So, are you disfigured on your leg?
Yeah, the whole thing's a scar. My whole upper thigh.
Next, the beast accused of committing this sickening atrocity on Marilyn tries to blame it all on another animal.
Our theory was this was more than just a random dog attack.